Hi everyone! So today we're going to take a little trip back in time and talk about what I learned about words in high school. I know a lot of people will sometimes say, oh, no one learns anything in high school. High school's pointless. But I'm here to prove that wrong, because I really did learn things. My junior year, I took AP English Language, which is all about persuasion, rhetoric, how to persuade someone to see your side of an argument. Of course, you might say, how is that related to fiction writing? But actually, I think there is a good connection there because even in fiction writing, you're trying to convince your readers of something. You're trying to convince them that your character is the person you say they are. You're trying to convince them that a certain outcome is more desirable than another. You're trying to convince them to keep reading your book and to take an interest in the story. Anyway, my teacher for this English language class had a wall of words that we were supposed to avoid in our writing. And these included a lot of words like good and bad or a lot. And the problem with those words is that they're vague. Think for a moment about the title of this video, choosing good words. Good words could mean a variety of different things to different people. Some people might think that this video is about choosing not to swear. Some people might think this video is about choosing big, fancy words. And some people might understand that it's what I'm talking about, which is choosing words that get your point across to the reader. So the first lesson I learned from my 11th grade English teacher was to be specific, to really describe things to get your point across. Don't tell your readers that someone has a nice haircut. Explain what it's like and let them decide if that's nice or not. Don't say that there's a lot of something in a scene. Say that there's dozens. Say that there's a countless number. Give them something solid to grasp onto, because that's a lot more interesting and it can give you a much better visual and imagery. And the second thing that I learned in this class came from the same idea of the wall of words to avoid. I don't even remember what it was called anymore. But once we had these words that we weren't supposed to use, it made me start really noticing the words that I used a lot. It made me notice that I said a lot. And probably the word that I used the most was many. I used it constantly in my writing. And so it made me aware of it, and to this day, I avoid using the word many as much as possible. I also avoid words like good and bad that I was using way too much in my writing. So pay attention for those words, the words that you maybe use too often. Look for words that are in the same paragraph, because if you're using words too often in your descriptions, then they start to not mean anything to the readers because you're using them to describe everything. What I did with the word many, my pet word, was that I looked up other ways to describe it. I looked up synonyms for the word and started incorporating them into my speech so that I could incorporate them into my writing. Don't forget, as Stephen King says, any word you have to hunt for in a thesaurus is the wrong word. So don't just go picking words out of the blue. Make sure you really understand what they mean before you use them. But at the same time, diversify your language, include more words, so that you can have a wider range of description, which will allow you to have a wider range of characters and settings. In summary, when you're picking words for your descriptions particularly, 1, avoid being vague, be specific instead. And 2, diversify your language. So I hope you learned something from my high school English teacher, and we'll see you next week.